Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. It's time to have a look at another news item for today, and it is of course the Defender of the Fatherland set of events. They do this pretty much every year in War Thunder, and this time it's really no different. They're bringing back some old Soviet vehicles that are going to be temporarily available to buy, some premiums. They are also doing a decal and a decoration, and a tournament series that you can get involved with, which is pretty cool. To start off with then, we have the vehicles themselves, which are temporarily available for Golden Eagles. Now, these vehicles are the KV-1E, the T-34 First Guard Tank Brigade, the PE-2205 Peshka, and also the IL-2M Avenger, which are going to be available from the 22nd of February until the 26th of February. If you want to get any GE to get these vehicles, make sure to use my partner code so you can get a discount and also support the channel. We'll do individual reviews later on in the video for all of these different vehicles, but if you want a quick one, they're all pretty good apart from the Peshka. The Peshka is pretty bad. Then we have the Red Army Tank Decal. You can get this by playing 3 battles using any USSR vehicle to get it, but then you also have a decoration, the Budinovka decoration. And the way that you get this one is win 5 battles using USSR ground vehicles to receive it. So you can't do it in air battles, so this one doesn't really work with the current event that's going on, which sucks. Hopefully they can get it fixed. What you can also do is, well, you need to do it in rank 3, battle activity at least 70%, all the standard stuff for these little events that they do quite a lot. They're also doing the Defender Tournament Series, so if you're interested in the tournament circuit, they're going to do a bunch of them, which are being held from the 23rd to the 24th of February. It's got a decently sized Golden Eagle pool of 119,000 G, and you can also get some decals and a title from it if you do really well. So if you're interested in that stuff, make sure to check it out, since they don't always, do tournaments like this all the time, only really once a year. So get involved, and if you are interested in the tournament stuff, especially after watching the esports stuff, this is a great way of getting into it. The actual tournament portal for War Thunder is pretty cool. Like, if you actually go to there and see how it's all set up, it's much more kind of distinguished compared to a lot of other games out there, and it's just kind of surprising how many people don't know about it. So if you want to get involved, make sure to do so. Let's have a look at the vehicles that are on offer. So let's start off with the KV-1E. The KV-1E is completely broken. It has been for the longest time. It's one of the vehicles that a lot of veterans actually go to in order to complete events. The reason for this is because it stayed at the same battle rating for years, even though there has been a bunch of changes to the game to actually decompress the BRs. The KV-1E stays at 4.0 just because it annihilates everything. What has actually happened with the KV series of vehicles is everything else has either got down BR'd away from it, or up BR'd to try and get away from it as well. So the vehicle itself has kind of become a monolith where it just kind of sits there where everything else moves around. It doesn't have the best gun in the world, but it does have additional armor on the turret, which is what makes it really annoying to face, because wherever you try and shoot it on the turret, you are running into at least 75mm of armor. The weak spot of this thing is the lower glacis, where there is 75mm of armor, but once again, because it's a KV-1E, it has additional armor on top of it, meaning that it's harder to get through. So yeah, this vehicle, especially if you have like a decent like connection or all of that, is very, very powerful, and it's the reason why a lot of people go to it when trying to complete events, since it is also rank 3. Even though it's a 4.0 vehicle, a lot of other vehicles which are around this BR are rank 2. So it's rank 3, meaning it can just annihilate everything and also do everything else in the game. It's really good. I can't, say enough how good it is. The next vehicle is the T-34 First Guards Tank Brigade. This one is also very good. It's just a standard, kind of T-34 with the older turret. It has the 76mm F-34 cannon, and at 3.7, that's completely fine. Has the, standard armor from a T-34 too. Does have a few little weak spots here and there, but nothing to really kind of write home about. If you want to pen these things, by the way, the genuine weak spot of a T-34 is actually the turret. So you see this area here where it gets down to 45 millimeters. Now, I understand if a T-34 is moving around, that's very hard to hit, but that's pretty much where you pen it. There are other areas which you can also pen, such as like the driver's port, but that one is a little bit trolley, because it does have armor behind it, meaning that it will just stop it. So yeah, aim for the turret in here if you're struggling with it to be able to destroy it. But it's got good mobility, it's got generally good targeting speed, it's got good reload. It's the overall okay tank, right? And at rank 2 means that you can't do all of the dailies and specials, but what you can do is you can do a trick, because the BTR 152 is 3.7, so is this vehicle, so you can actually add these to your lineup, and when you need to move it around, and if you need, like, let's say wins or something like that, you can just spawn in that, and it will actually count. So that's how you can kind of screw with that. You can also run it with all of the KV-1s and the standard T-34, giving you a really good lineup. And this thing, just since it's a copy of a T-34 with a unique skin, it's going to be good. It's going to have a great time, and it's going to do really well. If you need kind of a boost into the Soviet tech tree and you don't want to buy the beginner's pack, this one right now is a great one to pick up. It's fantastic as a general vehicle and works in a really, really good lineup of 3.7 with a lot of additions to it. You can even run stuff like the LA-5FN and also the I-185 together, which are two very good CAS aircraft on top of being air superiority fighters with really good guns. The Shabaks are actually great at dealing with top-down, panzers and stuff like that, where you can do a ton of damage to them, which is just fantastic. So definitely worth sorting out the T-34. The next one's the IL-2M Avenger. This is just a copy of the IL-2M once again with a unique skin on it. It's really good. It's very good at what it does, which is kind of grinding out certain dailies, grinding out certain specials. It's a strike aircraft, so if you ever get specific dailies or specials which deal with that, get X amount of ground kills with a strike aircraft, this one can do its job really well. It's also a rank 3, so once again, you can get a lot done with it. It also has the 23mm and the 7.62s as backup. The 23mm have a lot of pen. They can pretty much pen any medium tank that you want to kind of run into, and also a bunch of other stuff. Surprisingly, it also gets the 95 octane fuel, which gives it a little bit more of a boost at its uses. I would actually say its bomb loads aren't very good. You have two 250s and that's pretty much it, and then the rockets are kind of widespread on the machine and also angle in a weird way, so it's really hard to hit them up. But with the guns that you have and with all the other aspects, like the actual flight model of this thing, you can have a really good time. The IL-2M is a really good multi-role vehicle, so it's great at ground pounding, and then if you get jumped on, you have the 12.7mm Berezin in the back to be able to do damage to people. But the other thing is, this thing has a very, very strong elevator, so you get 1 or 2 really good turns out of it before you lose all your energy, meaning that you can actually outturn a lot of fighters with this thing, which catches a ton of people off guard, especially if they come down at you at speed, which happens a lot with this vehicle. So if you're getting attacked from high up, that's what you want to do. You want to defensively fly, make them miss, overshoot, and then turn back on them and then just annihilate them with the 23s and the 7.62s. You'll have a great time doing this. It's really fun to play as a general vehicle. And as I said, it's useful in all game modes. There isn't a game mode where this thing doesn't really shine. In ground, with the 23s and the 250s and also the dogfighting ability, it's great. In air, it's exactly the same. And in naval, you can even use it too, since it's at quite a nice BR at early destroyers and also mid-tier coastal. Peshka is pretty much worthless. It's just a vehicle which it doesn't really have a place in the game. It's one of these that we've talked about before, jack of all trades, master of none vehicle. It's a rank 3, battle rating 3.7, so it's a higher BR than the IL-2M, but the IL-2M is just better in every single way. The only thing it isn't better at, I suppose, is that it doesn't get a higher air spawn in stuff like arcade or realistic. but it's just completely worthless, this thing. You know, it has a terrible armament, 112.7 and 1.762. It has some turrets to keep it alive, I suppose, but even then, they're in weird, awkward angles, and also this thing cannot take a lot of damage. It's slow, and also the secondary loadouts you get is, what, 2 500s or 4 250s. So you're not even nuking like a base with this usually at this BR. So it's not fast enough. It doesn't have a big enough bomb load. Its offensive weapons are rubbish, and overall is just in a bad place. There are much better vehicles than this overall, the IL-2M literally being one of them. So at rank 3, you have like the LA5, you have the I-185. Both of them do this thing's job so much better than it, and also have options on top of it. The Peshka is pretty much worthless, but the other 3 vehicles are pretty good. Like, you can't be mad at any of these offerings. As always, though, I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you next time. I'd like to thank Schnitzel Stroker, Brendan Quinn, Vilneus, Character Fuel, Carrion Crow, Nicholas Richardson, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, B. Young, Opium Prime, Masonocrat, Lafouche, Alan Hacker, Sem Arslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.